Hi there everybody, I'm Bill.
And I'm Elizabeth with Tiny House Prepper.
It's such a beautiful day and I've been cooped up in the house for the past 4 days and I just needed to get out and enjoy the weather for a while, so we came down to this park.
The reason he's been cooped up is we have had a week of what we're going to call medical mayhem, and we wanted to tell you guys about it. And honestly, this has been the first day when it's been sunny and not pouring rain, which has been kind of appropriate. Okay.
Tiny House Prepper.
Well, we have been planning for quite a long time now for Bill's dad to be able to get some cataract surgery. And so we've been getting everything ready for him so he could be kind of staying around with us and we could take care of him. And so on last Wednesday he came, he actually came Tuesday night. And on Wednesday then I was just putting drops in every couple of hours and trying to get him all ready so that I could take him about a 40-minute drive away very early on Thursday morning to be able to get the cataract surgery done. So we're just trying to take care of him.
So several days earlier I was driving my truck and all of a sudden I noticed some real big, like what I call floaters in my eye. It was like really weird. I just kind of let it ride and see what would happen. Well, on Wednesday last week, all of a sudden the floaters were much bigger and broken up and they were covering my whole vision. Not that I couldn't see through it, but they were all over the place. And then I started seeing flashes of light in my eye. And when I got home that evening and told Elizabeth about it, the first thing she said was, "Sounds like a detached retina." And I'm thinking, yeah, okay, you read a lot and you're smart, but you're not a doctor. But in her insistence, we went to try to find a doctor. Of course, it was after hours. We couldn't find one open, so we ended up in the emergency room. When I explained what was going on, for some reason they thought it was possibly a stroke, so they gave me an MRI. And we ended up spending the entire night there, up all night. And turns out it was not a stroke, everything was fine there, but the doctor gave me a referral for an ophthalmologist, which is what we really had wanted. So after being there all night, then we had to get home just in time for Elizabeth to take Dad up for his cataract surgery after she had been up all night with me.
Well, I know we're in a different place now. We had really been enjoying down by the river, but we needed to get back home, so we wanted to finish telling our story, and we thought we'd do it out here under my one of my favorite pine trees right out in front of the house. And like I said, it's still just a really beautiful day. Well, I've just got to share kind of an idea of how chaotic things started to get from that point on. We had been really busy preparing for Dad. I was calling him Dad, he's Bill's dad, but Dad to be able to kind of stay with us for the surgery. A lot of preparation went into that because we live in a very small place. And so I'd been very busy with him, and he's almost 86 and he gets very anxious and he was scared to death about the surgery. So I really wanted to keep everything calm. Well, then we find out that Bill's eye was acting up in ways that truly scared me. And so I don't care what it's going to take, we're going to figure out how we're going to see a doctor. So we had just shared that we were up absolutely all night in the emergency room to try to see if we could figure out what was going on with him. So by the time I'm back at the house the next morning, getting Bill's dad ready to go, we didn't know for sure what we could do about getting an ophthalmology referral to get Bill into an ophthalmologist, but I had to get Bill's dad up for that surgery. So we set up the GPS because this, everywhere we're talking about is this series of hospitals that are in a big town near us, and so 30 to 40 minutes drive to each one of these places. So we had been to the hospital the night before, and then I had to take Bill's dad to a different hospital which was a little bit farther on for the surgery. So we set the GPS, got Dad calmly going as best we could, and I had to get him up there for the surgery. So I'm following the GPS, and it is the first time we've ever had something where, because our GPS needs updated, it did not have the zip code in there, so it took me to a suburb with the same address, which was not the same town. It was not the hospital. And we had left early enough that at least it wasn't a catastrophe. But I actually used Siri on my phone to help find the hospital. And Bill's dad's getting kind of anxious, but I had called him and I said, we're on our way, we just got to the wrong location. So when we got up to the hospital, I was coming from a very different direction, so it was kind of confusing which building to go to and where to park and everything. But I just went into a parking garage and went ahead and parked there, and trying to help Bill's dad stay as calm as I could. And I'm thankful that Siri had gotten me there. And we are walking toward the stairwell where you have like elevators and stairs and stuff in the parking garage. And I'm carrying a bunch of stuff in my hand and did not see a step that stepped up to where the door was. And I did a fairly severe face plant. And because I was holding things, there was nothing to break my fall. I just went straight down. And of course, it really upset Bill's dad. And I got to admit, I kind of wondered if I had broken my left leg. It really hurt. And I'm like, great, what am I going to do now? I've got to get him there for the surgery. And so he just kind of said, well, I'm going to go find somebody. And you had to understand, he's tottering and almost 86. So he's trying to go down and find somebody. And he did find someone, and they were sending security up. And the concrete was very cold. And I got to admit, it just hurt like a beast. I'd hit both knees, but especially the left one, and my chest hurt, and it was like not fun. So anyway, and I'm worried about him and worried about my husband. So a nurse came by starting to go to work, and she said, let me go get a wheelchair. So by the time security got there, and it's hard to get up when you've hurt your knees, it's hard to get up off of a flat concrete floor because you can't get on your knees to get up. So they helped me get up into the wheelchair, which was a huge relief. And they said, well, the urgent care here at the hospital will open up in about a half an hour. So they just took me down to the urgent care, and I said, well, I'm okay, you know, and I was at least in a warm place in the wheelchair. So I'm down there waiting for urgent care to open up, and Bill's dad, from everything I knew, was up getting prepared for the surgery, that they had him, and they were taking care of him, getting him all prepped and everything. And then I get a phone call on my cell, and the lady on the phone said, this is ophthalmology, we're looking for William Keller. And I'm like, what? I mean, isn't he up there? Don't you guys have him already?
That's my dad. We have the same name.
Yeah, this is William Keller Jr. and his dad is William Keller Sr. And this is all the same hospital system. And it's like, and so as I'm sitting there waiting for urgent care, this lady's, I thought she thought that they lost my father-in-law or something. I didn't know what. And I said, well, isn't he up there? He's supposed to be getting ready for surgery. And the lady was like, what? And I realized it was the ophthalmology department calling about my bill here, about his eye. And so they said they had a specialist there. God is so good, because we were going to go to this one place, and they said, no, if you go there, they're just going to send him right back to this doctor. He has an opening at 10. Can you get him in here? Now, I'd gotten there very early, so this is still like 7, it's like 8 o'clock in the morning, 8:30 maybe, and I'd gotten, so they said, yeah, we've got, one at 10 o'clock. And I'm like, well, take it. Yeah, we're going to definitely take it. So we'll make sure he doesn't eat or drink anything. So at this point, I have the vehicle. I'm 40 minutes away from home. Bill not only doesn't have a vehicle, but because of his eye, he can't drive.
So she calls me, and I had finally, after being
and he'd been up all night, both of us.
Being in the ER all night, I actually went to bed, and I had about an hour and a half sleep when she called me. She said, you got to be at the ophthalmologist at 10 o'clock and don't eat anything. Well, I have no car, and even if I did, I can't drive, and I haven't eaten, and I've only had one, what was that, a burrito?
A little burrito, sometime.
In the past 40 hours, and I was really hungry.
Right. And so he's stuck here at the house. He can't eat or drink anything in case they have to operate on his eye. I'm waiting to get in because they're going to try to see if I broke my leg. And so I got a hold of a neighbor who thankfully was not working, and they're really nice people, and he teaches EMTs. He is like a hotshot EMT instructor, and I thought, well, that's great, so he said he'd be happy to take Bill up to this appointment, because out of everything going on, what was scaring me the most was the thought that maybe he really was getting a detached retina. And I don't care what anybody else was telling me, that they didn't think that's what it could be. I really had a strong feeling that we needed to check this immediately. So I'll give this over to Bill, but you just have to realize I'm waiting, and I got to admit, in some fairly bad pain, and hoping Bill's dad's getting into surgery okay. In the meantime, a nurse came down, told me he was basically having a panic attack, because I think it really scared him to see me fall like that, and he didn't know if I was okay. And so I'm like hoping and praying they calm him down and let him just calmly go in and have this surgery, which he was really nervous about anyway. So I will turn this over to Bill.
So I get this call from her telling me about the appointment, and also, telling me about the fall she had taken. And I was really stressed out because my dad's in surgery for cataracts and my wife is in urgent care with possibly a really messed up leg or knee or whatever. And she didn't mention it, but we also found out that she cracked her rib.
Yeah, I discovered that I had a cracked rib. That's why my chest hurt so bad. Yeah.
So anyway, our friends came over and picked me up and took me up to the doctor's office, and it turns out that I actually did have a tear in my retina, which was not detached yet, but he said that the light flashes that I was seeing were the retina beginning to detach, and I caught it just in time. If I had waited another day, I could have lost my vision in my right eye, which of course not only would I be blind in one eye, but I would not be able to drive my truck anymore, so I would be out of a job. So praise God for the timing.
Yes.
So the doctor went through, all the examinations and everything, and then he did laser surgery on my eye, which was not fun. But he was able to do about half of it. He actually just kind of used the laser to tack down around where the tear was so it wouldn't tear anymore. But he only got about half of it done, and he said he couldn't do any more and he had to do the rest next week. So our friends brought us home again, and he told me that, it really shouldn't be that uncomfortable and that I could actually drive that afternoon within a couple of hours. And well, I got home and Elizabeth was still up there with, with my father, and she called and she said that her knee wasn't broken, that it was just, I guess, a deep, severe bruise, bone bruise. And it was her left leg, so she was able to drive because she still had her right leg available.
Right.
So she was able to drive and bring herself and my father home once he was finished with the surgery. But my eyes, the doctor said that I'd actually be able to drive that afternoon. But 4 hours after the surgery, I was still in so much pain, I couldn't even open my eyes. And it's amazing how if you have a bad eye, you can't open your good eye either. I tried to open my good eye, and my bad eye would be in so much pain I couldn't stand it. So she called the doctor back, and he gave me a prescription for some kind of salve to put in my eyes.
In fact, let's get to that in just a second. Yeah, absolutely.
What did I forget?
Oh, no, that's okay.
Okay,
that's
go
okay.
ahead.
Anyway, I want to get back a little bit here. And we will talk about that because, honestly, I'll get to this in just a second, but they x-rayed a whole bunch of stuff, and I didn't manage to break my kneecap, and I kind of hurt my right leg, but it's just bruised up, and I could still use it to drive. But when the doctor was checking me and I said my chest kind of hurt, and he started poking, and I yelped really hard, that's when they went and also did x-rays on my on my ribs and chest and stuff. So anyway, I just really bunged up my left leg and then cracked a rib. But anyway, it's just, he said, just breathe deeply. It's just going to have to heal. There's nothing they can do for that. Anyway, so this is the scenario. It is pouring rain. I know my husband has just been getting his eye, a laser treatment operation done on his eye. They take me in the wheelchair up to my father-in-law, who just got out of surgery. And of course, he was really relieved that I was okay, and that he had handled the surgery really well. So we're trying to figure out, at this point, I don't even know where I am in the hospital, because I don't know where the parking garage is or anything. And while they were getting my father-in-law ready to go home, I got a call from my sister, because in the middle of all this, my mom has been in the hospital in San Diego and has been really some pretty serious stuff. So she called me just to let me know how my mom was doing. So I had backed out of my father-in-law's room so they could get him all dressed and ready to come home. And I was sitting there, and the security guys came, and they were going to take me right back to my van. They were sweethearts. And so I was interrupted with the phone for just a second, and I looked up. Of course, they all knew that we had both these guys' eyes operated on at the same time, and that I'd been down there in urgent care because I crashed and burned. And I said, I'm sorry, it's just that my mom's in a hospital in San Diego. And I guess I won't be flying to see her. Anyway, everybody's like, oh, when it rains, it pours. And it was literally pouring ice-cold rain everywhere. And just the nurse looked at me, and I said, I'm going to go home, get their eyes all taken care of, and then I'm just going to either have a really good hard cry, because I hadn't slept at all, a good hard cry, or I'm just going to fall asleep forever. And the nurse was so funny. She goes, honey, you need to go home and have a big glass of wine. And I'm like, well, I don't drink. And she says, don't you think it's about time you started? I just cracked up. The nurse is telling me it's about time I started drinking. Anyway, so, you know, they took me to my van, which I really appreciated because I was lost. And then my right leg worked well enough that I was able to drive. So I went down and picked up Bill's dad and got home. And I got him settled in, and because I had to take the dressing off and you know, start the treatment on his eye and everything. And I go into the house, and my husband was in really considerably worse shape than my father-in-law. He was really in pain. He was just in the dark, like, oh, please, no light. He was hurting so bad. So once I got all the dressings off of his father-in-law, my father-in-law, and got the drops in and all that, and got him going, and knew he was resting, I'm like, something's wrong here, because he shouldn't have been in that much pain. So I called the doctor back, and they recommended this some salve kind of stuff, and I didn't know if they'd let me pick it up without Bill being there, so I took him with me to go pick it up at the pharmacy, and he literally couldn't see. It was crazy.
I couldn't even open my good eye because the pain in my bad eye was so bad.
I mean, he was in the dark glasses, of course, to protect his eye, and he's always been completely strong and completely never ever sick, you know. And so I'm walking through the pharmacy, and he's literally just got his hand on my shoulder because he can't see a thing. Of course, I'm hobbling. It's literally the lame leading the blind. And we got that salve for his eye, and he hates that I have to goop it in there, but it started soothing his eye. And we found out that the stuff that they have to put on your eye when they do a laser surgery to protect the cornea from getting burned, apparently he had an allergic reaction to it. They said sometimes that happens. So it's no wonder he was in so much pain. So I had to keep gooping that in. So literally it's been like setting alarms to make sure I could treat Bill's dad's eye appropriately and then get the stuff in yours at the right times. And then the very next day, I'm back with the 40-mile drive. Though that was the shorter one. That's a half-hour drive to take Bill's dad back to get his eye checked again. And, you know, and it looked like it was doing okay. And so got him, you know, back home again. So when we finally went to sleep that night, the night after all the surgeries and stuff, I think Bill and I had both been up for 40 hours. And I'm really grateful. I've been very careful and diligent with everything that has to be done to take care of them, as far as, you know, being clean and careful. But I'm very grateful. It looks like Dad's eye is healing really well. He's doing well. And, you know, you can see him now out here. He's going to have to go back in next Tuesday and go through it again.
In 2 days. I'm not looking forward to that.
Yeah, I feel bad for him. He's got to go through the whole thing again.
It's better than losing my eyesight. So
we are extremely grateful that God worked the timing out, that he could get to probably the expert that he would have been sent to by anybody else, just at the right time to keep that retina from detaching. And they kept telling me got in there just in time.
And, you know, I have no idea, they have no idea why it happened. I didn't have any kind of trauma to my eye or anything. It just started to tear for some reason. Apparently that happens occasionally.
And what in the world are the odds of my father-in-law and my husband in surgery at the same time for something with their eye that was completely not related, you know? And so, you know, I'm going to... Go ahead.
So then we get home, and we got 2 separate alarms set. One for his eye drops that he has to get every, what, 3 hours?
Yes, yeah. Well, it was every 2, and now it's a little more...
And one for my eye drops, which are a different time schedule than his.
And they're both mad at me because I keep putting him through all this hassle and pain trying to take care of him, you know, and then making sure the patch goes back on properly onto my father-in-law and everything. So, but they are both healing, and I'm trusting that the next laser treatment's going to go well and that this will be done, you know. This could have been, out of everything that happened, this could have been the most serious thing of all, would be for Bill to lose that vision. Yeah. So, you know, right now I'm hobbling pretty bad, and it hurts when I breathe deeply, but, you know, I'm okay. It's just, I was just laying there on that cold concrete going, God, don't let me have broken my leg, because what are we going to do? Oh my goodness, that's like my sister has said when we knew my mom was so sick in the hospital, and I had to be here to take care of all this stuff, and she's got someone she has to take care of, and we're just like, we don't have enough grown-ups around, you know, for everything that needs to happen, so it needs to be done. So, anyway, you know, today is Sunday, and tomorrow then I have an appointment, and they're going to make sure everything's okay. And then on Tuesday he has to get his eye done, and on Wednesday, and this is all long way away, and on Wednesday then Bill goes and gets the next treatment on his eye. So, no, Tuesday. Wednesday I take Dad in and to get another checkup on his eye. And so, anyway, that's why we called it Medical Mayhem. And, you know, you had shared a couple things that we are really thankful to God for when we were talking about this. You know, one, of course, that he didn't end up with permanent damage, and which would have cost him his job. And besides the fact, I don't want him to lose the vision in his eye. My goodness. But there was something else that Bill
Yeah, the other
mentioned
one
to
that
me.
we're both really grateful for. You know, we've mentioned numerous times before that Elizabeth had a stroke a few years back, but we never really elaborate on it much. And quite frankly, the days that we do the videos are pretty much her good days.
Yeah.
You don't really see her on her bad days. It's not that she's completely incapacitated, but when her brain gets really tired, then, as the doctor says, her body revisits the symptoms of the stroke. So when her brain gets really tired, that's when she starts to lose her balance. She can't walk without a cane or somebody to hold on to because her balance is really bad.
Well,
She gets completely washed out and you know, pale. She gets very tired and shaky.
my face I go totally numb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and you know, some other things that make it really difficult for her. And we both just really praise God that during that entire time, 48-hour time, being up all night, dealing with all the stress, you know, falling and hurting her leg and going through x-rays and examinations and all that, and trying to deal with the finding transportation for all of us and all those kinds of things.
Yeah.
For 48 hours, she went strong the entire time. She never had a strokey episode.
Yeah.
You know, and we just really praise God for that, because in the middle of all of that, if she had fallen apart because her brain got tired and she couldn't even walk because of her balance, in addition to her messed up leg, yeah, it would not have been good.
No, I don't know what we would have done. Honestly, I just don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
just try to kind of picture, you know, I've got the two Blues Brothers with their black glasses on, and I'm hobbling. I mean, seriously, talking about the lame leading the blind. It just, but no, God is really, really, He is strong when we're weak. And it was really a couple days. I mean, this is now Sunday, and it was probably Friday night or something like that. All of a sudden I realized I was getting really numb-faced, and I could feel it.
After all this was done, and we were all home.
Yeah, we were all home. I had everybody on schedules for their drops. We were on top of it all. And it's like all of a sudden then I just kind of had a little bit of a rough time with it. But, you know, I was home. The guys were both here, and we were fine. And, of course, Bill's doing so much better now, you know.
Yeah,
so.
just in time to go do it again.
Oh, I know. I feel so bad for him. He's got to do it again. But anyway, it's going to end up healed, and that's the
Yeah.
important thing.
Right.
So,
Right now I'm not in pain.
right.
So-
I hate that he's going to have to be back in pain again, but we'll
I
just.
still got all those floaties, all those, you know, but
Yeah, they said that's blood from the tear in his retina, and so.
floating around on the inside of my eye. Eventually it'll dissipate. Eventually my body will absorb it, but it'll take a little time.
So he'll always have the tear. They've tacked it down, and it doesn't seem to be hindering his vision as far as the tear. But if it had detached, they can't necessarily save it. And so, oh my goodness, I'm so grateful. So, anyway, we wanted to kind of give you guys a little bit of the story of our medical mayhem.
Yeah.
And actually, when we were down by that beautiful creek, just sitting there, it just got too hard on my legs, so I kind of had to come home. But and I've got my alarm ready to go off for Bill's dad's next treatment. But we're going to be okay, and I'm really thankful for many things. I'm thankful a nurse came by and had a wheelchair to me as quick as she did, because otherwise it was a long time in that cold concrete when I was hurting so bad. I'm grateful that Bill's dad was able to find somebody that could help right away. I'm grateful that we got this Bill to the help he needed as quickly as we did. And you know what, honey? I'm grateful that you trusted me enough when it was such a headache the night before Dad's surgery to go to the emergency room. Thank you for trusting me enough that we just had to do something, because
Well, when I saw those flashy lights start, I knew that it was something that I had to deal with.
yeah, we had to find out what was going on. So
It looked like lightning. Always came from the top to the bottom and always took the same route. And it's just a flash of light just go down. It was really strange.
yeah, I bet. Oh my goodness. Alrighty, well listen, we love you guys.
Anyway, that was our week.
How was yours?
How's your week been?
How was your week? Oh my goodness. Oh wow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we love you guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for taking the time to support us in our channel here. And
yeah. So, all right, we love you, and we will see you soon, and we'll see what happens next. Okay.
all right,
Okay. Bye-bye.
goodbye.
So this is my dad. Say hi.
Hi, and this is my son Bill. He's really a good boy.
I didn't tell him to say that. So here we are with our Blues Brothers glasses
With their
on.
eyes on.
Take them both off. I want them to see how much you guys look alike. Isn't that amazing?
So you recently had cataract surgery in your left eye.
This eye.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
how's it doing?
Very good, very colorful. This eye is dull and gray and brown. This eye is very bright red and blue. All kinds of colors.
All right.
So I'll put my glasses back on.
Yes,
Okay.
you need to protect your
I'll
eyes.
be a movie star with MGM season with these glasses.
Yeah, we can do that together.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Nice to meet you.
Bye.
Isn't he nice?
Yes.